Lexus is known for building cars that are comfortable and reliable, and outside of a select few, kind of vanilla. It's not that they're boring, they're just not going to impress anyone with their performance prowess. Which brings us to the RC F. It's fast and loud and looks aggressive as hell, kind of the anti-Lexus. But is it enough to impress the enthusiasts? If the RC F is out to impress, it aims to get the job done right from the get-go. It definitely looks the part, with sharp lines, a massive grille, and a low and wide stance making it stand out from the crowd. Under the hood is a naturally aspirated 5-liter V8 that puts out 467 horsepower and 389 pound-feet of torque, all of which is relayed to the rear wheels through an 8-speed paddle-shifting automatic. The chassis itself is a bit of a parts-bin Frankencar and is built from equal parts GS and IS sedans and the extinct IS convertible. And the suspension setup is an adaptation of the RC Coupe, Hold the F, with about 3/4 of the parts swapped out. The RC F may be a Lexus, but don't expect it to ride like an ES sedan. It's stiffer than...
That corpse you found on the highway during college and didn't report to authorities, Dan.
And does little to absorb bumps and road imperfections. Truthfully, it's downright jarring at times, and fares poorly during commuting duty. But take the long way home, and the RCF's rigid chassis and suspension are sheer brilliance, keeping the car communicative and planted through corners. A limited slip differential is standard in the RCF, but our tester is fitted with the optional torque vectoring unit that makes up part of the performance package. It does more than just detect wheel spin, but intelligently sends torque where you need it, when you need it. Truthfully, you're probably not going to notice when it's working, and that's kind of the point, but it will definitely go a long way in improving cornering performance. With a burly V8 under the hood, the RCF is in rare company as the only sports car outside of an American muscle car to get power from a naturally aspirated 8-cylinder. It also plays the role of Jekyll and Hyde to perfection, cruising around fairly quietly with the drive selector set to normal, before coming alive in Sport and Sport Plus, blasting from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 4.5 seconds. Flicking it to Sport Plus also adds a little bit of weight and resistance to the electric power steering, but it definitely feels a little disconnected compared to a traditional mechanical setup. The car is also a little two-faced in its drivability and can't seem to decide whether it wants to be a premium sports coupe or a muscle car. It definitely has the technology to be counted in the premium segment, but isn't quite as refined as some of its European counterparts. It's definitely just as fun though. If you'd rather listen to a car's mechanical melody than the sound of the stereo, then you'll love the RCF's throaty exhaust note, especially with the drive dial set to Sport or Sport Plus. There's also some electronic trickery at play in Sport Plus mode, with a module in the RCF that amplifies everything from the engine bay for a 50-50 mix of engine and exhaust noise that makes for a symphony of sound that adds a ton of fun to the driving experience. The cabin of the RCF is about as well appointed as any of its competitors and comes with comfortable and supportive sports seats that are available in a beautiful red leather, which contrasts well with the carbon fiber and suede trim. It's also incredibly quiet despite the raucous exhaust note, and can easily host a conversation, assuming the bassy 17-speaker stereo in our tester is turned down to a whisper. The only complaints inside come from the dated look to the infotainment interface and audio and climate controls, and the touchpad that has to be used to navigate through the different functions of the infotainment system. And of course the rear seats, which offer nowhere near enough legroom to seat anyone with, legs? Lexus has clearly taken aim at the BMW M4s and AMG C63s of the world with the RCF, but it's not quite on the same playing field as its rivals, except when it comes to price. 62 grand or so will get you into one, but count on spending closer to $80,000 to get the stuff you want. But its rear-wheel drive has a naturally aspirated V8 that sounds like it's ready to rip a hole in the sky and is a blast to drive, making this anti-Lexus the Lexus to own.
A whole bag of boners. Is that AutoGuide appropriate? I would say, why not?